up? Welcome to the free training, how to start and grow a virtual property consulting business. Now, I've been getting so many messages about, I want to get into real estate. I don't know what to do. I have some money. I want to invest. I'm tired of working my 9 to 5. I need a side hustle. Well, if that's you, if you're an entrepreneur, or you want to be a real estate investor, or maybe you are a real estate investor and you're just looking for another stream of income that you can do virtually from your home without having to do a ton of work. Because I'm going to show you how to do this the easiest way. Because, if you want to make money, it's about beating the trends. This trend is going to be hot. It's going to be the hottest side hustle. It's going to be the hottest business model within the next few years just because of what's happening in the market. So if that's you, if it sounds like you're ready to make some more money than you've ever made, right? Doing it virtually from home or anywhere in the world, then you want to pay attention to this training. So another man's trash is another man's treasure. You probably see homes like this all around, and you never knew that these were actually gold mines. I call these money homes, right? This house right here paid me $10,000. Now, how did I make $10,000 from this home? Well, I did the hard way. There's a few ways to make money from what I do, but I did it the hard way because I didn't have a ton of money. I had just moved back from Florida, had just quit my job. I was living on my mom's couch, didn't have a car, had to convince my best friend to actually quit his job at Planet Fitness as assistant manager so we could have a car to drive around. So what we did was called Drive for Dollars. We would get in our car, we would drive around various neighborhoods, and we would look for properties that look just like this. Maybe vacant, maybe beat up a little bit, maybe not too bad, but homes that look like they could use some work, and other homes around them were fixed up. So this home was needed some work, and the two homes beside it were fixed up. So we knew that this was a deal. Now, what did we do? We drove around looking for homes like this, writing down the property addresses, and then we would skip trace, meaning we would look up the information to find the homeowner. So once we found the homeowner, we would just cold call them. Reach out. I would do 100 calls every day, reaching out to homeowners, seeing if they want to sell their property. Why? Because if they do want to sell their property, then it was my job to get that property under contract at a certain price. And then there would be an investor that wanted to flip this house. They take all the risk, and they would purchase that contract from me. So I didn't need a real estate license. I didn't need a ton of capital. I didn't need a ton of experience, right? I didn't take a course or anything. I had a mentor. I used podcasts. I used YouTube, and I was able to do this, and it paid me $10,000 within 30 days. So I closed this deal in 21 days. So if you pay attention to the end, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same thing, but a lot easier. So here's a check that just came in. You can actually check the date, January 11th, 2021. This was $7,000 check, and I made this in 48 hours. Now, the story behind this check was on New Year's Eve. Well, actually, November 5th, I reached out to the homeowner, and he didn't respond back to me. I followed up on December 31st, New Year's Eve, and I asked him, I said, just following up, do you want to sell your property? He gave me his price. We negotiated a little bit through text, didn't call him at all. And we agreed on the price, and the buyer, he wanted it at a certain price, and we did that deal. We locked it up. So you can get checks like this very easily if you learn my strategy, my method. There's many different strategies out there. There's many different ways to do this, but I like to do the easy way. So here's one of the homes that we wholesale, right? Homes that look just like this. This doesn't look beat up at all, right? But the homeowner, his situation was he was senior owner, so he had this property for like 7 years. He was getting up there in age. He was getting ready to want to travel. He's married, and they just were ready to get rid of it. Had a tenant, so he was an absentee owner, meaning he didn't live in the property, but he was using it as a rental property. Now, with COVID going on, with everything going on in the economy right now, there's plenty of homeowners that have properties, and they're just ready to liquidate. So the house doesn't have to look beat up, right? It can maybe just need a few repairs, maybe $20,000, $30,000 worth of work, and they're not willing to do it, and they want to sell their property for a discount. So be thinking about this. When you get into this type of business model, who wants to sell a property at a discount? Well, someone that has a certain problem, or maybe someone that has owned a property for a long time, maybe divorced, maybe they inherited the property, maybe they're behind on taxes. So there's various different ways and reasons why people will sell their home, but we like to focus on absentee owners. So here's another property. This particular situation was the owner, his father passed it down, so he inherited properties, and he actually has another property that he wants to sell to us. So with this one, he was going to put the work into it to fix it up, because there's plenty of houses on the same street that are fixed up. But he realized, he's like, hey, if I put in $20,000 in this house, that's the most I can do, and I can probably only make $20,000 profit. So I want to just sell it for a discount. Sold it for a discount to us. I got it over to a buyer, and we locked this deal up pretty quickly. So you can see these homes don't have to look crappy, right? These are everyday homes that people can live in. So why should you listen to me about starting a property consulting business? Well, just a few years ago, I had finished football. I had finished playing college football at Middle Tennessee State University, and I accepted a job in Florida working as a manager in training. So I was working for a big corporation. I got my crack at the 9 to 5, working the corporate world, and I hated it. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I felt like my talents weren't being used. I felt like I was a sitting duck, and I saw my future. I looked at my superiors. I looked at my managers, and I realized that that's my life. Maybe some of you right now are working a job and you feel like you can see your future. You can see who's ahead of you. And if that's the life you want, hey, by all means, go for it. But I didn't want that life. So what I did was I quit cold turkey, and I was actually homeless. I was sleeping on my frat brother's floor. And while I was homeless, I was learning different skill sets. I was learning real estate. I was learning how to market. I was learning e-commerce. I was learning how to trade, and I was implementing. So I was learning from people that were actually successful. And that's the key, is getting around someone that's successful and learning how they do what they do. Whether you have to pay them, whether you have to come up with the money, whatever you can do it to get there. So now you can see from being broken homeless to sleeping on floors to bouncing around from different business models and being unsuccessful. Finally, success came, right? This is my new home here that I'm on the top floor looking at the view here in Nashville. And then you can see I have a chef, because there was times when I didn't know how I was going to get my next meal, how I was going to eat. Seriously, like there was times where I didn't know if I was going to eat or not. And sometimes I didn't eat. I would just go to sleep and I would dream about food. That's how hungry I was, right? But it's funny now, but now I can eat what I want to eat. I have a chef. He cooks up some good meals. And you can see now I have a daughter, a beautiful baby girl named Bella. She's getting ready to turn 1. So I couldn't imagine having a child in the circumstance that I was in. I couldn't imagine having a child working a 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck with a child. I also couldn't imagine having a child and being homeless, right? But which one was better off, right? Staying at the 9 to 5, living paycheck to paycheck, being unhappy, or taking a few steps back so I could get ahead, right? And that's what I'm going to help you guys do, whether you have a 9 to 5 or maybe you're a full-time entrepreneur. I'm going to help you get ahead. So how does someone go from broken homeless to making 6 figures? Well, it's the wealth formula. And Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about this a lot in the cash flow quadrant, and I stole this from him. So this is not my idea, right? This is what it is. 9 to 5, side hustle, business owner, investor. 9 to 5, right? You're working a 9 to 5. You maybe you're living paycheck to paycheck. You need to create a side hustle. You need to move down to quadrant 2, and you need to start a side hustle. Now, what type of side hustle? Well, start with the lowest hanging fruit. Maybe you're good at washing cars. Maybe you're good at cleaning homes. Maybe you're good at trading stocks. Maybe you're good at doing hair. Maybe you're good at selling clothes. Whatever it is, start a side hustle so then that side hustle can turn into a business. See, some people get stuck in the side hustle quadrant. I'll talk about that in the next slide. But then once you're a business owner, you can become an investor, because you can invest in your business, because as your business grows, you grow, right? Your income grows. And then you can also start investing in the real estate and different things as well, because a business is going to pay you more than just working at a 9 to 5. So most people get stuck in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. They work a 9 to 5, they never start a side hustle, and they just live working 9 to 5 their whole life. Nothing wrong with 9 to 5s, but if you don't have a side hustle, that means you're only depending on one stream of income. Now, side hustle, this is basically being self-employed. A lot of people get stuck here as well. They're doing hair, maybe they're cutting hair, maybe they're doing nails, and they never get out of it. They never start a business. They never get their own building. They never hire people. They get stuck in the side hustle because it's good money there, right? Self-employed is good money. You're making good money, and you have some freedom, but you're still using yourself to make money, and you need to learn leverage, which is what Robert Kiyosaki talks about in the cash flow quadrant. You need to start a business so you can eventually become an investor. Most people try to skip steps. They try to go from 9 to 5 to investor, or 9 to 5 to starting a business. No, start a side hustle first and then turn that side hustle into a business. This is the wealth formula. So what is the secret to success, right? Well, it doesn't matter if you're doing real estate, e-commerce, stocks, etc. Your success is dependent upon these 4 principles. Number 1, who do you listen to? Your life is the sum of the people you listen to the most. Your friends, your family, the teachers, the gurus, whoever you listen to up until this point, you're at this point in life because you listen to them, right? If your parents said that you need to go be a doctor, well, and you go be a doctor, but you don't even know why you're a doctor, well, it's because you listened to your parents. They told you to go be a doctor. They told you to go get that degree. They told you to go get that brand new car in debt. They told you to get that brand new home and that mortgage. They told you to go get married at a certain age, and you did it. And you realize that you lived your whole life listening to the wrong people because that's not even what you wanted out of life. So who do you listen to? Listen to people that have what you want in life. Number 2, teachability index. What's your willingness to learn? What's your willingness to change? If you want to know your teachability index, ask yourself, what is my willingness to learn? Am I willing to pay for information? Am I willing to listen? When people tell me something, do I say I already know that? Am I open to new ideas? If you say yes, it's a 10, then you're going to multiply that by your willingness to change. Are you willing to stop watching Netflix? Are you willing to wake up at 5 in the morning if you have to? Are you willing to stop drinking? Are you willing to stop partying? If you say yes, absolutely, willing to do whatever it takes, that's 10 by 10, right? That's a perfect 100. Now, if it's 10 and let's say your willingness to change is a 0, that's still a 0. So your teachability index is a 0. You always want to be at a 10 and a 10 for both. Core number 3 is training balance scale. So this is the thoughts and the actions, your why and your how. Most people focus on the actions and the how. They focus on how do I do this? How? Search Google right now and you get a bunch of how-tos. Well, it's really all about the thoughts and your why. That's what makes up being successful. Feeling good, thinking good thoughts, understanding your why you're doing it. It's bigger than you. It's a bigger cause than you. Once I learned this, once I mastered this, that's when my life changed. And then you need to understand there's 4 stages of learning. See, most people never, ever get success because they never get the point of how they learn. They learn something and they think they got it before they actually have it. So there's 4 stages of learning. Number 1 is unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know, right? Maybe you didn't know what a property consultant was. So you don't know what you don't know, but now you're exposed to it. Now that I told you about it, you're conscious incompetence. You know that you don't know. And then when you actually start studying it, you watch this webinar over and over again. You watch my trainings, you watch my YouTube videos, you start listening to podcasts. Then you become conscious competence when you actually do it. Repetition. Repetition is the mother of all skill. And then once you get to unconscious competence, that's where it's on autopilot. That's where you can just teach people. It's you know a deal when you see one. You know how to lock up deals. You're making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 per month because you're unconscious competent. That's where you want to get to. And the only way you get there is by repetition, consistency. So here's what we're going to cover in this masterclass. So the 4 keys to building a virtual 6-figure property consulting business, my exact process for finding and closing 3 to 5 deals per month without having to cold call, send mailers, or drive for dollars, and how you can get access to my exact system to close more deals consistently. So here's what they say. I went years without getting involved with real estate because I had bad credit, I didn't have any capital, and I didn't have a real estate license. And conventional wisdom, I'm going to tell you, is always wrong. I thought that you needed good credit to invest in real estate. I thought that you needed a ton of money, and I thought that I needed a real estate license to get involved in real estate. But none of this is true. Don't listen to conventional wisdom. You have to understand that there's many ways around the system. There's things called creative financing, and the type of finance that I'm going to talk about today is called wholesaling. So what is a property consultant? Well, a property consultant is just a problem solver, a middleman. We help homeowners and investors, right? On one end, we help homeowners sell their property. If they're trying to sell it quickly, maybe they don't want to sell with a realtor, the traditional way. And then we help investors find these properties, find these deals, because investors don't have time to go around looking for deals because they're the ones flipping the properties. They're the ones putting work into it, right? So you don't need a license, once again, or credit. All you need is 100% hustle. So as a property consultant, you are controlling an equitable interest in a property and quickly reselling that interest for profit. The real estate purchase contract gives you controlling equitable interest in any property. So if we have a contract, and when a seller or homeowner signs that contract, that gives you controllable equitable interest. And then you can flip that interest. You can resell that interest for a profit. So here's the process in a nutshell. You have a seller. The seller is motivated to sell now, right? Has a property. He wants to sell it now. He doesn't want to deal with a realtor. Then you have you. You get this property under contract for $220,000. The buyer is you're gonna assign that interest in the property to a cash buyer, and let's say you assign it to him for $230,000. So you just got paid $10,000 for finding deals for a buyer, and then helping a seller sell their property quickly. So here's the evolution of an investor. Everything has steps. People that want to do e-commerce, they start with drop shipping, and then they get into private label, meaning drop shipping, there's no branding involved. There's no, there's not as much risk. All you're doing is letting a third party, you're middlemaning. But eventually you become the business. You become the person that's selling that product. So let's say if you're selling gym clothes and they don't have a brand to them, well, eventually you private label. It becomes your brand and you're the one that's shipping it. You have more responsibility, but you make more money. It's the same thing with being an investor. Wholesaling is active income, meaning that you have to keep closing deals over and over and over again to make money. So it's a hustle, right? Active income. Well, fix and flip is the same thing. You have to continuously flip properties, right? Make more money, right? Wholesaling, thing about wholesaling is drop shipping, and fix and flip as, private labeling. You're making more money because you're taking more risk, but it's still active income. You still have to work to get paid. And then eventually you move up to buy and hold, which is passive. Now you can buy a property and you can put a tenant in there and it can rent and you make cash flow. That's why they say cash flow is king, because you want to make passive income. So you want to keep your active income, right? You want to do something that can consistently make you active income, and then you can take that active income and buy properties that can pay you passively. So history repeats itself, right? Think about the Great Depression. Think about who made all the money during the Great Depression. It was people that had service businesses. They were selling products or they were selling services. Commerce. Now we have e-commerce, but back then it was commerce. They were knocking on doors, selling stuff door to door. They went out and made their money. They were hunting, right? Your dad can't get a job. Why can't you give my dad a job? Imagine getting fired from your job and not being able to get hired due to circumstances. What are you going to do? I know people that were making six figures working for their company for 20, 25 years and got let go. And what were they going to do? They had side hustles. You cannot survive without going through this wealth formula. It's just, if you do, you're setting yourself up for failure. I hate to put it that way. I'm a very positive person, but you need a side hustle. And you need a side hustle that can take care of you and your family. You don't want to be the little boy holding a sign. You don't want your son holding a sign, or your daughter holding a sign, right? History repeats itself, but success leaves clues. History repeats itself, but success leaves clues. So what did people do during the Great Depression? They started service-based businesses, and they sold things. So what are you going to do? You're going to start becoming a property consultant, so you can start helping people solve their problem, and you can get paid good money doing it. So here are the 4 keys to building a virtual 6-figure property consulting business. Key number 1, find the deals. You have to be able to find deals first. Before you do anything, you need to be able to find a deal. So I'm going to talk about how to find the deal, right? What is a deal? How do you know it's a deal? And then number 2 is creating the deal. So now that you have a deal, how do you create this deal? How do you structure the deal? How do you put it together? Number 3 is funnel the deal. So now that you have this property, how do you get it off? How do you make money? How do you get paid from it? And then number 4 is close. What's the closing process like? So how to find deals? Well, who goes to the pawn shop, right? Who would sell you a home for a discount? Well, somebody that goes to a pawn shop is someone that needs money now, or they have something sitting around that they don't care about anymore. Nowadays, you have Facebook Marketplace. People don't even have to leave their home. They just take a screenshot of their property or take a screenshot of whatever it is they want to sell, and you go to Facebook and do it. Well, this is a little different with homes, right? Because someone that's in a home, they have sentimental value, or someone that has a home and they're using it as a rental. You need to be able to go find these people, and you got to go hunt for them, right? They can't come to you. Maybe you have a website, maybe you're running ads, or maybe you have bandit signs, but there's a better way we do this. So first thing you want to do is choose a lead source. What type of person is going to sell their home for a discount? Well, we talked about absentee owners, meaning that they own a property and they don't live in it. So they're using it as maybe a rental, or it could be vacant. Then you have pre-foreclosure. So someone is getting ready to lose their home, is getting ready to go into the foreclosure process, right? High motivation. And then you have probate, meaning that someone inherited a property and has to go through the court process, probate, before that property can be sold and determine who owns the property, right? And then you have vacant. So a property that no one is in. It's just a sitting duck. Then you have divorce. So divorce is a reason why people would, liquidate assets. Maybe they're splitting up. They're not going to be in the home anymore. They just want to sell it quickly for cash. And then you have eviction. So maybe someone is getting ready to be evicted, or they have a tenant that doesn't want to move out, so they want to sell the property. Then you have the tired landlord. So someone that owns a property and they're just tired of owning properties. They're just ready to get rid of them and get out of the real estate game. And you have free and clear, meaning that the property is owned free and clear, so there's not a mortgage on it. Then you have for sale by owner. So someone is selling a property, but they're not using a realtor. So you can negotiate with these more, right? Then you have tax lien. So a property that has taxes on it. They're behind on taxes. And you have high equity, meaning that the property has a ton of equity. So these people are willing to negotiate because it's a lot of equity in it, and you can control that equity, right? That's how you make your money. So here's the old way to find deals, right? You can locate the homeowner's information and reach out with a letter. You can call them, or you can door knock. That's the old way, right? Cold calling. Nobody wants to be cold called. No one wants you knocking on their door doing Corona. And a letter, I mean, it still works, but who's really checking the mail every day? And then you have bandit signs. So these are signs that you see on the side of the street. Maybe you see them at the crosswalk. And they say something like, investors special, or, those can get attention, but more than likely, like, people are busy. They're driving by. They don't have time to, check a sign. So that's like more of the bait, the fishing method, right? You're sitting here waiting for a deal. And then email, trying to email someone and say, hey, I want to buy your property. Emails, most people are getting a ton of spam emails nowadays. That's all of these are ancient old marketing tactics that work, but there's much easier way, and I'm going to show you. So here's a new way. Go 100% virtual, right? No door knocking, none of that driving for dollars, none of that stuff, right? 100% virtual. And then, so what you want to do is you want to pull a list. And you want to reach out via text. Meaning that you go find a list of homeowners that have properties, and you just send them a text. And this text that I use, you can get my exact script, right? I get homeowners to respond about 90% of the time. Right, there's an easy text you send out, and it lets you know, based off the text, if they're interested and if they want to sell. Based off the text, they either say yes, no, maybe, hell no, whatever they say, right? We're moving through numbers. It's a numbers game. Wholesaling, being a property consultant, is a contact sport. Speaking of contact sport, Mookie Betts from Nashville, Tennessee, friend of mine, one of the greatest MLB players already, right? He still has a lot of years left. Signed a major deal with the Dodgers. What do we learn from him? Well, if you look at his batting average, it's a .301. That means 30%. He's hitting 30%. So if he gets the bat 10 times, goes to plate, he's hitting 3 pitches. So you're telling me that to be a millionaire, to be one of the best MLB players, all you have to hit is 30%? So what does that tell me in business? That means that I need to swing more. And if you're not making money, if you're not making the money you want to make, that means that you're not swinging enough. You're not swinging enough bats, right? You just need 30% to be great. You reach out to 2,000 people, 10,000 people, 100 people. You just need 30%. 30% to say yes. And you'll have a successful business. You'll be making $30,000 per month, $50,000 per month. If you go 100% harder and get 30% closing rate. So remember that. And what really made me think about this was when I was working at LA Fitness and I was a sales rep there, and we had to call people every day. And I asked them, I said, hey, these people, they aren't answering the phone. They're dodging this number now. Why do we call every day? Until one day I called and someone actually came in and they ended up signing up. He said, see, the key is in the follow-up. If someone doesn't say, leave me alone, and you just keep going at them, eventually they'll come around. But you want to make sure you're the last person on their mind. So the key is in the follow-up. Another thing that made me think about baseball, I was working for a big marketing company, and not too big, actually. I mean, they were doing about $300K a month, so pretty decent size. And with this particular company, I realized that they were doing better in the market than everyone else because they were swinging more bats. It was more contact. It was me and 2 other people that would make 100 calls per day. And then he had closers to catch those appointments. We were setting appointments and the closers would close the deals. But the reason we were bringing in more revenue is because we were making more contact. The more people he had making contact, the more money was being made. Now his business is massive. He has more people making more contact. So if you want to be great, you want to make more money than you've ever made. Maybe you're wholesaling already and you haven't closed a deal. You're not making enough contact. So here's my process for finding deals. Right? My team of deal finders pulls an absentee list. So I have a team of deal finders, and you don't have to even use deal finders. You can do this yourself if you don't want to use deal finders. But they pull an absentee list. They skip trace it, meaning that they find the information, the number of the homeowners. They upload the list to my CRM, and then they send out an automated SMS campaign, meaning that every day 400 people are being reached out to, consistent contact. And then from there, I go in there, I make offers, and I follow up. This is my process for finding deals. Very easy. Every day I'm making offers. Every week someone wants to sell a property. So how do I create the deal? Well, there's some terms that you're gonna want to know when it comes to creating a deal. If you're a property consultant, you're doing wholesaling, right? You want to understand what ARV is. That's the after repair value. You want to know comps, which is just comparables. You want to know repairs, and the fastest way to find repairs is just multiply the square feet of the property by 25. You want to know your assignment fee. This is what you get paid, and you want to know what MAO is. So this is your maximum allowable offer. So how do we find these? How do you find an after repair value? How do you find comps? How do you do repairs? Well, I actually do an example for you. So what I'll do is, let's log into one of my deals here. Okay. So let's look at the numbers. Let's log in. Let's analyze one of my deals. How do you create the deal? So I found this property. Seller wants to sell, and I need to create the deal. I need to figure out where this property needs to be at. I need to figure out the MAO. I need to figure out there's things you got to figure out, right? So all I'm going to do, I'm going to come to PropStream. PropStream.com. And this is a benefit of when you're not a realtor, because if you're a realtor, you have access to the MLS, so you can just see all the properties that sold. You can see the comps. Well, PropStream is the closest thing you're gonna get to having MLS access. So I use PropStream to analyze my deals. Now let that load. So we'll come back to that while that loads, right? And we'll do. I want to do a live example. I want everyone to be able to see how to create the deal. So here's the case study we're going to do. When that loads, the property address, you're going to put in the property address, which is 1514 Jewel Street. I have the square footage, 1264. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So what is the ARV? How do you find the after repair value? Well, we don't know yet. What are the comps? We don't know those yet either, but they're valuable, right? You need to know the comps, because the comps, the comparables are going to tell you how much houses for in that area are going for. So with real estate, residential, your house is value is based on what's sold in the area, like close to you, like in the neighborhood. That's how you know the value of your property. And then you're going to determine the repairs. So we're just going to take 1264 multiplied by 25. So we're going to say 32,000. And then the assignment fee that I got from this was $10,000. So let's see if that's loaded and ready to go. Okay, so we're in business now. Okay, so I'm just going to come here to PropStream. And I'm putting an address here. And it's going to give me some details. When it loads. Okay. So now I have the owner's name. I have his mailing address. I have all the information I need about the property pretty much. So now I can get in contact. I can see the value of it. But what I want to know is the comparables, right? I want to know how much this property can go for fixed up. I know right now, you just look on Zillow. and look at the Zestimate. Now, the Zestimates are not accurate. I don't want you guys to think that you go to Zillow and you know what the property's worth. It's not accurate, but you get an idea of what it's worth. So $336,000. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to MLS. So I want to know what sold, right? Because comparables, comps, that's what sold. And I want to see what sold within the last 3 months. And I'm going to do plus or minus 200 when it comes to square footage. So I'm going to do 1264 minus 200. It's 1064. And I'm going to add 200 to it. So that's 1464. And I want properties that are sold within 0.5 miles. And I want to make sure they're residential. And I want to make sure they're single family. And I'm going to use the same bedrooms. So everything should stay the same. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Okay, so now I have properties here that sold. And you can even see the averages here. So around $311,000. So $248 per square feet. So I want to see what sold the most. 380. That just sold recently. November, December, that sold for 365. So I'm looking at the ones that just recently sold, and it looks like you can get anywhere between 260, 365, 246, 380. And these are the closest. All right, so I'm just going to multiply the square footage here. So 248. 48 times 1264. So 314, I'm going to say you could sell this property for 314, right? So now we're going to go back to our case study. And we know that the ARV is 314. Now the comps, what we would do is we would write down all those property addresses. We would look at the comps. Now you don't have to do much because PropStream gives it all to you. So we know that the comps in the area let us know they can go anywhere between 260 to 380, right? So we're gonna meet at the middle. We're gonna say 316, right? So we know how to repairs. So now there's a formula we're gonna use so we can figure out our MAO, right? The maximum allowable offer. The formula is ARV times 0.770. That's the average, the national, right? Some people do 0.75, but ARV times 0.70 minus repairs minus your fee. So if the ARV is 314, then I would multiply that by 0.70, and then I would minus out the repairs. And the repairs is 32,000. And then my fee minus 10,000. Right, and that'll give me what I can offer for that property. Now, my buyer, he measured this property at 380,000. So we did 380,000, and in our market, it's 0.75. So 308,000 minus 0.75 minus 32,000 in repairs minus my $10,000 fee. The maximum allowable offer I could offer for that property is $243,000. What did I offer him? I ended up getting under contract at $220,000. Gave it to the buyer for $230,000. Made $10,000. So over time, once again, unconscious competent. Eventually, you'll become unconscious competent with this. You'll be able to do it in your sleep, right? So now that I had that property under contract, I created the deal. Now I had to funnel the deal. So now you need to submit this contract to a seller using HelloSign, or you can use DocuSign, any other thing. I use HelloSign, really easy. Once your seller signs the purchase and sell agreement, it's time to market your deal or funnel it to a cash buyer. And cash buyers are everywhere. So social media, you can do Facebook groups. They're everywhere. Twitter. Investors looking to buy properties are literally everywhere. It's the easiest way to sell a deal. So getting a deal is the hardest part. You'll always be able to get rid of a deal. So using our system, we can also blast your deal to cash buyers in your area as well. So once you have this deal under contract, let's say that the seller wanted to sell the property, you're going to send them the purchase and sell agreement. Now that they have that purchase and sell agreement signed, you're going to market this deal to an investor. But before you do that, you're going to go ahead and open escrow and pay earnest money deposit. So it's usually 1%. It's just a good faith deposit. But the cash buyer is supposed to pay this EMD. I don't ever pay the earnest money deposit. The cash buyer usually pays it. So when you assign a deal to the cash buyer, you should also receive earnest money deposit of at least $2,500 minimum. So you know that they're a serious buyer. They're not going to waste your time, right? Now with my buyers, I have a good relationship with them. They don't pay me EMD. I know they're going to close. I don't usually do it, but you would want to do that if you're just getting started and you don't know these buyers. Just make sure you get EMD. So close the deal. Now that you have the property in escrow has been open. Now you can finally coordinate the closing process and get paid. So the title company or attorney will coordinate the closing process for the seller, and you receive your check in the mail or it's wired. Rinse and repeat. It's really that simple, right? So what's the fastest way from point A to point B? A straight line. Following someone that's already winning, already having success, and just following their process. So I'm going to show you how I close 3 to 5 deals per month without cold calling, direct mail, or PPC, and how other investors are leveraging my team of deal finders. So here's my exact setup. This is my setup, right? This is my CRM. This is my system, meaning this is where my customer relationship management software. So all of my leads are put into here. All of my contacts are stored into here. I can put 7,000 leads in here. I can put 10,000 leads. I can put 2,000, 4,000. It doesn't matter the amount of leads. So once these leads are put in here, my deal finders, they come in here and they set up campaigns that go out every day, SMS campaigns. And in these SMS campaigns, messages are sent to see if people want to sell their home. Sellers want to sell their home. So I can show you some of the conversations. Let's see here. And you can message directly from this. You can call from this, right? It has a dialer in here. You can call from it. You can message from it. Just show you one of the conversations. So, hey, Mr. Charles, just following up. You said you want $250,000 for your property. Would you be willing to take $220,000 as is with no inspection? We could close with renter in place. Make it $225,000 and let's do it. So all I'm doing now is just negotiating through text, no calling at all. Right? We went back and forth a little bit. $205,000. We agreed at $205,000 on this property. Got it assigned for $210,000. All right, let's look at another one. So this is one that actually just closed 2 days ago, but I locked it up on New Year's Eve. So deal finder came here, sent their message. He gave his price. I asked one simple question. Maybe we'll drop. What's the best you can do? Condition needs updating 100,000 as is. Sorry, can't do that. And messaged him on New Year's Day. Let's do 115,000. Happy New Year. As is, you pay any all closing costs. We made it happen. So within 48 hours, closed that deal. Didn't take any conversation. All it took was finding deals, creating them, funnel the deal to a buyer, and it was closed. It was that simple. Now, where do we find this list from? Once again, PropStream or my deal finders, my team of deal finders can also create a list, skip trace it, pull it for you. And now all you would need is just to do this day to day. This doesn't require more than 4 hours per week to come in here, check out your pipeline, see what leads need to be followed up with, see what cold leads you have, see what warm leads you have, see who made an offer, see what you close, see any new deals you close, right? Very simple. Very, very simple. And that's it, right? There's no secret method to it. Now, if you're interested in getting into real estate, you want to do this virtually, you want to use my system, you want to use my setup, you don't want to drive for dollars anymore, you don't want to do mailers, you're tired of spinning your wheels, I want to invite you to go ahead and schedule a free strategy session. Now, on a strategy session, I want to assess your goals. I want to know where you're currently at, where you want to get to. If you really take real estate serious, right, there's something you really want to do, I want to invite you to be a part of my coaching program. So I'm helping people all over the world lock up deals every day, virtually, doing the same system. Learning how to find deals, learning how to create deals. And then when you want to become an investor, now you understand how to find deals. Now you know how to really do it. Not theory, right? This isn't a course. This is me actually helping you, teaching you my step-by-step process. So if you're interested in that, click the button below, schedule a free strategy session. I can't do this for long because I'm actually wholesaling myself. I have many different companies going, and I can't open my calendar up for too long. So if you want to get on a call, you want to map out a plan, you want to map out your blueprint, how you can get from where you currently are to where you want to be, schedule that free strategy session, hop on a call with either myself or one of my advisors, and we'll help you get there. So I can't wait to speak with you guys. Continue hunting for those deals and go out and be great.